All right, I'm going to talk a little bit today about the whole Doublelift situation in OQs. Near Airport is obviously stomping. They're doing really well. They're going to play for a NACL qualification slot later today. And that's great. To be candid, my team lost to them yesterday and it's fine. Like I'm not concerned about the fact that we got knocked down. We still have another chance this week. My concern is more so that this whole Doublelift situation just highlights that there's not an attempt to even develop the region. I was actually a big fan of him entering OQs and bringing viewership to a tournament that oftentimes doesn't get enough, right? So I thought that was really positive. And then I was really excited that he was going to potentially go into NACL and bring even more viewership to a tier 2 league. The problem is if he doesn't do that, right, and he just backs out, what was the point of all this? It wasn't like he produced a bunch of content around the league. He didn't talk about other teams. It wasn't even comparable to the Los Ratones situation in which they're actually trying to promote the league they're playing in. There was videos made with hundreds of thousands of views. There was content made with other teams. Like none of that really got done in this situation. It was kind of like him and the group of ex-LCS pros came and stomped a bunch of rookies in OQs, and then they just left. That feels really bad. And I think if we're looking at the short-term benefit of getting some extra viewers at the cost of other people not being able to, I guess, participate in a league that they were trying to work towards, or even NACL now, there's going to be two slots that have an issue, right? Because the Pulse drama, and then now this happening. What is the point of OQs? You're going to promote a team up that can just willingly just back out, or are they going to sell the slot? They can't even sell the slot. That's the thing. So I don't know what the purpose of this whole thing was, and it just kind of speaks to the lack of foresight on his end or his team's end that nobody even brought this up. And to say that, oh, there's too much of a time commitment, we have real life issues and all that, is also just sort of like, you don't think every single other OQ NACL player is dealing with this? Like they all have jobs, they all have college, they all have outside lives. You're actually retired. You should have more time than anyone else, right? If you're going to go that route, just play an NACL, drop the ego about, oh, we need to win NACL, and just play for content. Play off meta. Pull the boss strategy, If you don't want to scrim 3 days a week, don't scrim 3 days a week. Just scrim 1 day a week and just play for fun. Nobody's going to say that, oh, because you didn't win NACL, you're actually a garbage player. Like, I don't think that's really the discussion. If you're obviously just playing for content and not trying very hard, it doesn't reflect on your overall career. This is completely separate. I don't think anyone's going to deny that you're one of the greatest players to play in LCS history in NA. But to like have that drive, I guess your competitive spirit of like, I never ever want to lose even in NACL, which means I have to grind, is sort of like you're creating the problem for yourself. Just package it differently, make content around it, support the league that you came into with the intent of doing something in the space and actually like make something positive out of it. My concern is mostly just that this feels very almost, it feels a bit unfair for a lot of teams. The whole purpose of OQs is to give new players a shot at showing developmental possibility or potential so that in NACL they can then develop into players that would maybe make it to LTA. That doesn't seem to be the case. If we're going to make NACL a pure content league, that's one thing, but then it does take away opportunities for players trying to move up. And this really just speaks to the bigger problems with Riot decision making over this last year in terms of tier 3, tier 2, that there is no development anymore, and they've clearly disincentivized development. Dropping prize packages, changing the scheduling to be weekdays, decreasing the actual viewership in terms of putting anything about this on main channels. All of this stuff is sort of, it just feels like Riot's completely given up on building the region at this point, and they're hoping that LTA just carries for as long as it can before they just sunset it. So I don't know. There's a lot of thoughts in my head right now about what's going on. I think it's incredibly disrespectful to the league itself to put a team that is projected to obviously go almost undefeated and then back out when you win what you were supposed to win. It just feels like, what's the point of this? You came down for the purpose of making content around beating players you know you're better than. Doesn't feel like a positive for the league as a whole, is my point. But regardless, we're focused on this next week. We have one more opportunity to make it. Players are in good spirits. We're just going to have to win out. But, my issue is mostly with the optics of how the team is operated Not so much the fact that obviously they're better and they deserve to win. That has nothing to do with it. It's much more that, what is the purpose of them doing this?